Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you guys doing? I'm almost nervous about this one. Because it's kind of, I mean, anybody can read that title and see that on its face, it's kind of objectively like prejudice. Yeah, a little racy. But with that said, that's never stopped me before. And I'm not one to be easily offended. I more so find this type of thing interesting. And also a reason it caught my eye is not only does it have that title, but it's got 13,000 upvotes. And I mean, it's a huge story that I have not read yet. But I guess it's got 13,000 upvotes, so we got to get through this story and then see what the comments are saying. I'm a little scared. Let's do it. This is from Casual UK. Hopefully this doesn't come across as rude, but I'm genuinely befuddled. A bit of a backstory: I've been thinking about starting a new academic journal. A dear friend and colleague of mine in the States was meant to collaborate with me, but due to circumstances, had to back out. He recommended a colleague of his as a replacement. On Friday, I sent her an email to introduce myself and discuss the journal. Okay. This morning, I saw she wrote a lengthy reply, including this. Also, not to nitpick, but I noticed a couple spelling errors in your email to me. Oh, God, that's so embarrassing. What? God damn, that's so weird. It's so embarrassing. I mean, is there any way this colleague didn't realize that she's talking to a British person? I mean, we're talking about, she's saying, oh, you know, you spelled it wrong, organize and realize, because they spell it differently in the UK than in America. And I mean, we're talking about an academic journal and a colleague, so this person is supposedly an academic, and they're saying something that stupid. Okay. All right. That one hurt. Ouch. That's embarrassing. I wish other Americans would quit embarrassing me. Perhaps it's a good idea to bring on another colleague as an editor. Oh, God. Oh, God. I now have marked as, I'm sorry, I'm freaking dyslexic today, guys. I now have her marked as a twat, but maybe that's unfair. The tone seems a bit condescending, and I worry this will continue if we collaborate. Yeah, why would you? Of course you should not collaborate. They've already shown you within their first reply that they're not very intelligent. So why would you collaborate with them? When I see them write recognize, I understand that's how they spell it, the silly cunts, and I don't correct them. Has anyone encountered this issue or similar working with American colleagues? I mean, I just have to say, right off the bat, I've encountered stupid people of all types in my life. So it's just kind of weird, like, oh, but okay. I mean, on one hand, it's justified because of this experience. On the other hand, it's like, yeah, obviously there's some morons in America. Everybody knows that. And there's also morons elsewhere I've seen. Anyway, has anyone encountered this issue working with American colleagues? As I'm not the most tactful at times, any polite way to handle this? Oh, wow, this is all just edits. So this is the original post. Okay, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. To be frank, like I said, I mean, to me, this is pretty simply chalked up to you got in touch with a moron. Pretty simple, they're an idiot, so don't work with them. Evidently, you have respect for whoever your original American colleague was. You know, this was the stand-in. So your original one, presumably, hopefully, is not a moron. So work with them, not the moron. Now, I don't know what kind of professional setting this is in. You know, like, I don't know if we're talking about university colleagues. If we are, then yeah, just because someone's in university does not mean they're smart. I don't know if that applies to like Europe, but yeah, that's certainly my experience. You have a huge range of people here in America, some brilliant people and some blabbering idiots, and that people can be stupid in different ways. You know, like I don't know what university this person was in, but it can be the case that just because someone like does well on a standardized test and gets into a nice university does not mean that they are actually like intelligent. Or this might be, you know, the type of university where they give most people an opportunity and most people end up failing out. I guess I'll go through the edits because I was prepared to read this whole thing. Edit, thanks for all the funny and thoughtful suggestions. I'm going to give it a couple days to think about it so I don't act in a rash manner. Edit 2. My issue isn't with the suggestion of an editor. Of course, one is needed for a journal. My issue was with her reason for suggesting an editor. No shit. I'm sorry, but do we even need to go over this? This person is a moron. Her arrogantly correcting you while she's the one incorrect, then implying you need an editor because you were incorrect, is all you need to see. She's a moron. I wouldn't reply to the email. I'd just say, never mind. That's all I needed to hear. Never mind. You're not qualified to work on this journal with me. Sorry. Or if you want to be more straightforward, say, we spell it differently in the UK, you arrogant dumbass. There. Edit 3. For the Americans and others who have begun to go apologetic, I apologize if you didn't recognize the tongue-in-cheek title. Okay, all right. This post was in part serious and part casual. That's why it's in casual UK. That's fair enough. I mean, I will be the first to admit for all the shit that America kind of forces the rest of the world to put up with, I don't mind when some of it's given back, you know? The first post is just a pinned comment from the mod, because I guess shit was getting out of hand to where they basically said, you know, I mean, the obvious type shit that I've already said. There's stupid people everywhere, and you can't be, you know, prejudiced. Or you can't be super prejudiced. Or, I mean, you could, but I guess it's not allowed on this subreddit. Just reply, and then at the end, ask her if you can reach agreement if you are going to write in English or American English prior to work commencing. That would be pretty funny. That would be the most subtle way and polite way of letting her know, hey, you're stupid. But also, I mean, I don't know if this is like a sincere suggestion, because in my opinion, why would you work with someone on an academic journal if they've already shown that they're not very intelligent? That's just my opinion. I would absolutely not give them a second shot. I'd just be like, no. Glass her. I don't even know what that means, but it's got 4,000 upvotes. I think you mean glaze her. Nah, I see what you did there. I still don't get it, though. Ha 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 ha. Seriously, though, how can someone who writes academic papers not know about UK versus US spelling? That's a good question, although I will say anyone can write an academic paper. It doesn't mean it's going to be published or anything. I have a couple of good American friends, and they're not like that at all. Yes! But I have noticed that online, at least, and especially on Reddit. Damn it! A lot of Americans seem to just expect that everything on the internet only relates to the USA. You don't say. I have a whole series about that. There's a subreddit called US Defaultism about this phenomenon. You only have to look at those, quote, global subs, where 99.9% of it is American stuff. Right. Or they use subs where people ask a question where their location might be relevant, but they don't mention it because they assume everyone else should know they're in America. Yep. Sounds like she's one of these people. Yeah, probably. I'd probably avoid, to be honest, if possible, as it will probably only get more annoying for you. Or you could just say, that's how it's spelt where I'm from, smiley face emoji. It's interesting. Maybe people are more cordial than I am. Maybe there's something to the fact of like not trying to burn a bridge or something. Like if this colleague is a friend of your valuable colleague that you have, that you respect, that would be a very nice reply. I'd be inclined to thank her for her correction and then spell every word that contains an S with a Z instead. Is this how German was invented? Nothing to see here. Yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing if this was something you had to put up with, like if this was your professor or your boss or something, or your in-law. But being that it's just the stand-in colleague from America, I say tell him to kick rocks. I mean, if I was writing an academic paper, I want an intelligent academic as a collaborator. That's my, I think that makes sense. Wow, that was actually quite interesting. Somehow I went through like all stages of emotions reading that. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye.